Just start the recording now. I didn't want it to record just while we were waiting this. I mean, it's fine, because folks then, if they watch the recording, they can always fast forward. So bear with me here. Awesome. Welcome. And thank you. Yes, we've got Pedro here who is helping out with the Q&A. So we'll have some Q&A as we go. But with that, I think we'll get started. So let me get my screen share here. Okay, so welcome to the Agency Essentials in ClickUp Masterclass. Hopefully y'all can see my screen. Are we good? Chase, Pedro, excellent. So welcome to the Agency Essentials in ClickUp Masterclass. And if you're an agency owner, likely if you're here on this masterclass, that's exactly why you're here. We're going to go over today the 5 systems for your agency to run like a Ferrari. Fun fact, Pedro was telling our other team member, Bugattis run faster than Ferraris. What you're going to learn, pretty much just the basics of our project management method. So within ClickUp, we're specifically talking today about agencies, but this really applies to anybody who runs a service-based business. So just know that you can take and apply these principles to any kind of service-based business. Number 2, we're going to talk about how each of the 5 systems work with one another. Of course, we know that in our day-to-day and with our businesses, there's a lot of moving parts. And the thing is, there's a huge concept called like, don't repeat yourself. And so that's the thing, is we want to just be able to set something and have them kind of interlink with each other. And then some tools, tips, tricks, basically the things that you're going to need to know to get up and running with your workspace. And so I'm going to be giving you guys all the sauce today on how to develop your unique build out for your unique business. So, but first, a little bit about me. Who are you, Kimberly? So I'm Kimberly Snow. I've been in entrepreneurship for, well, I want to say it's like 2014 is when I got into entrepreneurship. My husband, Chase, as many of you may know him, he's been in it just a little bit longer, but prior to my entrepreneurship journey, you'll see some logos and things on here, short and simple, a lot of hotel operations, casino marketing, other sales and marketing positions, even working for the tax man back in 2009 and even 2017 to 2020. It was at that point that we realized that not a lot of folks know how to run their business. And so pretty much during the pandemic, we started a digital marketing agency. It was really crazy, actually. Me and Chase, we had our 4th child. I quit my job. Actually, funny story, we actually sold all our stuff and then moved to Mexico. I didn't quit my job until a week after getting in Mexico. So really burned the bridges. But within the last couple of years, 2021 into 2022, that's when we really started to invest heavily into scaling our operation, into investing into multiple coaching programs and things of that sort. It's actually ironic. So like I mentioned, we had, I've been in a lot of startups and everything of that sort too. Used Trello for like 10 years. And last year we made the jump. Last year we made the switch. And we realized that just Trello wasn't going to hold it for us. It's not quite scalable. So we made the jump to ClickUp. We were in a super, super tiny niche. I don't know if any of you guys know what scalp micropigmentation is, but essentially like how women will get microblading for their eyebrows. So for the head. So just to conceal balding, thinning hair, things of that sort. And it was kind of sad. So Chase, myself, and we had a third partner, actually my brother, we were in the agency together. There was just some misalignment. So long story short, we kind of had to go our separate ways. We started a new business, new venture. And within 6 weeks of building the new business and the new ClickUp profile, I quickly became a certified power user. So that was pretty cool. That was a pretty awesome thing to experience. But so just so you guys kind of know a little bit about me, a little bit about my background, now we can jump into it. So we're going to talk first about the ClickUp foundations. So first, before we get into all that, I just want you to know that ClickUp is simply a tool. It's really about what you put into it. It starts with you and determining your processes. And so just think about like, what is the desired outcome that you have. And what are we producing as inputs? So it's funny, actually, if you could see, so people are managed usually vertically, right? A top down. You've got like the CEO, the VP, the manager, and then the people below them. So that's how people are managed. But the results are created amongst departments. So in order to, for example, create a sales brochure, it's going to involve a few people in a collaborative effort. So we don't want to create these like silos. Your customers, they don't experience department by department. They cross all departments. And in order to be able to provide them that seamless experience, you have to break down those silo walls. And so just again, as a precursor, just you control what's on the inside. It's what you build into it. And pretty much input equals output. If you don't have a great input, well, you didn't set that up for success. So hopefully with these tips and tricks that we're going to be talking about today, this is going to help to ensure that you can get everything set up for the best outcome. So it starts with you, right? It starts with you in determining your processes. Let's just mention that. All right. Now, I'm happy actually to mention that everybody on the masterclass, everybody that registered got the order bump, the upgrade. So everybody got the workbook, and I appreciate your patience. I wanted to make sure that that workbook was as valuable as possible for you. So you do have a ClickUp hierarchy guide, some things that are going to walk you through and just help you kind of get some more tangible, hands-on experience with it to understand it. But essentially with the hierarchy, when you think about the workspace in general, the workspace is your building. So I took this screenshot straight from the ClickUp site. If you think of the workspace as your building, the spaces are going to be able to facilitate how you can group that primary categorization, whether you want to break it up by teams or departments. You'll see, again, we're talking to the 5 systems. So that's 5 spaces that we've created specifically with our method. You can segment your workflows or your task types further down into lists. Maybe you have similar work categories that you want to group up into folders. You can definitely do that as well. And of course, your tasks, those are going to live on the list level. And it's crazy enough, you can actually have subtasks and nested subtasks. I think they let you go up to like 7 layers deep, which I don't recommend. It's kind of like jumping down a crazy rabbit hole. But with that, just as kind of a visualization, just so you can kind of see what this might look like, each workspace is unique to a business. And so I am a user within multiple workspaces, but then, so that's the thing, they're all each independent of their own. And so you can kind of see, all right, cool, here's a space with 1 folder and 2 lists that live inside that folder, versus maybe lists can also live independently. So that's kind of some of the differences versus like some of those other project management softwares that don't allow you to do that. And if we relate it to classifications of animals, as you can see, like this would be your workspace, and maybe this would be a space, and then the different lists, and these would be your tasks. So a monkey is a mammal, a whale is a mammal, a lion's a mammal, and so on and so forth. That's just kind of a great way to relate it to being able to how the hierarchy works. So one thing I wanted to mention just right offhand, it's kind of funny, ClickUp calls everything a task, and I don't think that's fair. I don't like that. Like some other softwares like Monday says add item, which I like a lot better, but just so you know, ClickUp calls everything a task. And well, it could just be tracking data. It doesn't have to be a task. When I build these lists in ClickUp, I like to think of it that either this is a list designed to facilitate actual tasks, actual to-dos, and then some of our other lists are just to simply track data. Essentially, a task is just a row on the spreadsheet, and your custom fields, AKA your columns on a spreadsheet, is how you can build that data. And types of users. So just some kind of basics, right? Some foundations. There's 3 basic types of users in ClickUp. You've got your guests, your members, and your admins. Now, what's cool is with guests are free to add to your workspace, but by default, they only have access specifically to what you grant them. So if you bring somebody in and you just give them access to one list, that's all they can see. They can't see anything else that's going on in your ClickUp. You can even add somebody specifically to a singular task if you wanted to. Now, on the flip side, members are the paid seats, right? Now, members reversing that thought is they have access to everything by default unless you specifically lock them out of certain sections. And so think of that like if there's an area where it's maybe you want your own private area, your own executive little space, you would want to create that to be a private space so that nobody else can get into it. And of course, admins just have more permissions than your standard members, pretty self-explanatory. So now that we've covered some of those foundations, we can jump right into the goods, right into the 5 systems. So the very first system, of course, is our client success space. And essentially, you can just think of this as a place to manage your client profiles. And so again, task, ClickUp calls everything a task. So AKA the task on your list would equal the client profile. And again, it's all what we build it into. It's fully customizable. So you just have to kind of think, what custom fields do I want to add? What kind of information do I want to build and track on my clients? So like who they are, name, email, phone number, maybe their Google My Business link, their Facebook link, Instagram, right? What products or services they even purchased from you, their payment status. Are they up to date on their payment? Are they past due? When does their contract start versus end? All kinds of stuff that you can build into these client profiles, essentially just to act as that master instance of where you can centralize all of the information and data related to them, as well as link out. Like, for example, I know a lot of you guys use Google Drive folders to give and share content amongst your clients. And so you can attach that Google Drive folder to the client profile. You can attach their service delivery agreement to the client profile. So then you don't have to go and dig back into your DocuSign or PandaDoc or whatever. It's right there. And if you guys ever send out like your onboarding forms or onboarding surveys, you can download those answers and attach that to the client profile. So it's just a way to bring everything in. We're not doing tasks here. This is just about our clients and who they are. Service delivery, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is where we do the tasks for those folks. So when it comes to the vertical hierarchy, and you guys will see that in the guide, just something I want you to know of and be aware of is I like to think of it as like, what is the purpose of this space, of this folder, of this list? What is the purpose and who has permission? So when you can start thinking of it in that sense, then it's like, all right, what is the purpose? Who has permission? And then let's just keep all of that consistent. So when it comes to the service-based business, pretty much anybody who's involved in client fulfillment, of course, you want on that list. Now you can set up specific statuses, views, and automations at every level of the vertical hierarchy as well. So this is just kind of showing you guys some of those examples. Statuses, so what's the status of this client? Are they onboarding? Are they live? Are they active? Did they take a break? Are they paused for maybe a month or two? So this is just a great way to keep track of what status that they're in with you. And then views. So you guys will get a lot more. And again, I'm so happy that everybody took advantage of the workbook, because that's going to really help you and teach you how to create your specific views. Those are designed simply just to help you focus in on specific columns, AKA specific custom fields, and on specific filters. And so let's say if you had an onboarding form with this automation, then if you create these little templates, it can auto apply like the templates, your tasks, your to-dos to onboard a client. So that's what this space really facilitates. And this is just kind of a couple of examples here of what some of our client profiles look like. So you can see these are a lot of the custom fields. So these are some short text fields. These are some dates, some links, some labels, some drop downs. I love this one too. One of my favorite ones is the little location thing, because sometimes in our industry, and if you're in a lead generation agency, due to like non-competing or whatnot, if you are particular about who's in a particular area, that helps, because then you can view them on a map and you have a great idea of where you can sign new clients at. And then of course, as we talked about, like the attachments. So I've attached his Google Drive folder. I've attached his onboarding form answers. I've attached his service delivery agreement. And then we have a document where we can keep track of all of our like meeting notes. So it's pretty cool. And with that, that moves us into the service delivery space. Now, this is where we're going to actually manage the deliverables for that client. So the client profiles are over here. The tasks that we do, the things that we do to fulfill on those deliverables, and we can relate them via a relationship in ClickUp. So, but first thing that you want to decide is, are we going to go with a centralized or a decentralized approach? Now with us, we work with an extremely small client pool. We only work with about 10 active people at a time. So because we're doing so much stuff, we actually do a client per list. And what's cool is, because we like to have that transparency, then we add the permissions for our client to see their project on that list. But at scale, I definitely don't recommend that. If you're working, like I have some other clients that we work with that have like 70 active clients, and that gets to be really crazy. That gets to be really chaotic. And so if you're looking to scale, I recommend a centralized approach. So that's just something that you want to think of in the beginning is, am I going to go with a centralized or decentralized per client list approach? And so what's cool is, now that's the thing, is if you have one product, one service, and it's per client, that's easy. Now, other agencies, like I know some agencies that have multiple different services, like a full scale agency who maybe, let's say they offer SEO and lead gen and website development and social media management. Those are all incredibly different things, right? And so I would recommend in this case, that's when you do it on the centralized approach, but we can break those types of workflows, those types of tasks into their own separate list. And then at that point, of course, they're going to have their own unique statuses. They will be able to have their own unique custom fields, their columns, right? And you can attach all kinds of things to those too. So I always, if I'm doing things, what's really cool is if we're getting information from a client, you can attach like the screenshots if they report an issue or something of that sort. Like if you're managing your content and stuff like that, all right, let's link out to where this content is stored. So hopefully that helps you guys. I'm gonna take a drink super fresh. So some statuses in this case. Now it just depends, right? There's some like general statuses. If you guys know stuff about like project management, you've got like your Kanban, your Scrum, your all that kind of stuff. So that's similar to what this is: to do, in progress, review, versus if you were doing, like, let's say you run a SEO agency and you run blogs, like you write blogs for folks. That might look a little bit different. Again, your statuses could be based upon the unique workflow. And so again, this will make a lot more sense with the workbook, I think, too. Anybody who's involved in client fulfillment, of course, you want them to have access to this. And then what specific views might you want to create, and what specific automations? So in our case, this is when you can automate the passing off on the workflow. If somebody on my team says, hey, this is ready for review, they don't have to tell me it's ready for review. All they have to do is say, ready for review, and I'm going to get notified, and it's going to send me a comment based on those conditions. And so that's some of the really cool things that you can do with that. And so, oh, this is exactly what I was just talking about. So like, segment your list based on the workflow or task type. Each list, you can set specific statuses. So a production workflow might have some statuses like this one on the left side column, versus the blog articles. Hey, we need to write the blog, it's in progress. All right, we need to proofread it, all that good stuff, all the way up until it's published. When does this process start? and versus when does this process end? That's a great way to think of it. And so this is just kind of an example of one of our clients and in the ClickUp that we built for him. So you can see all of the different statuses. He's got like to do, in progress, on hold, quality control check, all of these columns. By default, ClickUp, of course, in any project management software, good rule of thumb too, I can't believe I didn't mention this yet, is if it's a task, if it's something that we're committing to doing, of course, it should have, or it must have, an assignee and a due date. And I even recommend it to have a priority level as well, because if it doesn't, it's not going to show up on anybody's home screen of their to-do list, right? And so super important, assignee, due date, priority. And then you can use these other custom fields to categorize things. So we can categorize what type of task is it. Also, you can have the latest comments. So that is how we communicate in our team. 90% of our communication takes place in ClickUp on a task to task basis. That way we're not going over to Slack. We're not like doing things and other things where we have to scroll up like through mountains and mountains of stuff. No, it's on a task to task basis. And we know exactly what's going on at all times. Now you'll see this little guy right here, this little dude. That's a relationship. So this is how we know which client this task belongs to. Like this task belongs to the Trailblaze Paints client. This task belongs to Hello Painting. So again, we've got our client profiles here. We've got our service delivery tasks here. And then we're able to relate them to know which client does this task belong to. Cool. So with that, we'll move into capacity defense. And I think we're making great time. I want to be respectful of everybody's time and get it all in there. So this is essentially just a place to manage your internal company affairs, your KPIs, or whatever it is. This is like your internal hub. We've talked about the clients now. All right, but you got to treat yourself as a client in a sense too, and you have to manage your own internal affairs. So what we like to do is I have a folder where we have a list for what are some emergencies or bugs that have arose. This is like some of those important to-dos that need urgent attention. Routine tasks. So when I talk about routine tasks, those are things, of course, that we do on a regular basis. Generally, I would recommend that to be those recurring due dates. That's what's awesome in any project management software. And I love that about ClickUp is you can set up the recurring due dates. And so whether this is something that you do on a daily basis or a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever it is, put all of your routine tasks for everybody in a centralized spot. And then of course, those other things that don't fall into the general routine and they're not necessarily an emergency, but they're other tasks or other projects that we're going to be working on. You can have a list for that as well. And then of course you need a place to manage your ideas, because without ideas, like we would never innovate. But at the same time, sometimes those ideas can be a distraction. Sometimes those ideas can facilitate interrupting your workflow. So you want to be able to have a place to separate those. And then I don't know if you guys do this now, and I don't know how big everybody's team is, but right now we've got a team of what, 6, I want to say, and we're located across the world, like globally. And so we're all on like different time zones and things of that, but we have a process that is set up where everybody does a beginning of day report and then an end of day report. And I like to look at it as just like projections. We're going to project what we're going to do for the day versus we're going to reflect on how the day went. And so we can set up these like forums, and this is just a great way to track and manage data over time. When you think about this, again, not every list is for tasking, but sometimes just simply to store data. And so you can store your KPIs, like your salesman performance, your call center performance, finances, like anything like that. So it's really cool. Again, this is just kind of a tool that you're able to build into whatever it is that you want it to do, but it can centralize all of those abilities. And so some statuses you might use, like I definitely use different statuses for my ideas versus the workload. When we talk about this, 1, 2, 3, those first 3 are tasking areas. And then the bottom one is just the idea list. So this is how we pretty much categorize our ideas too. Now, I would recommend, as far as permissions, leadership, of course, and then anybody who's involved in those internal company affairs. Most of the time, that's going to be pretty much everybody, but it just depends on your unique business. And then, of course, very similarly, you can create your own views to focus in on the data that's important to you. And you can set up any kind of automations that are going to help you with that passing off of any workflows. And then HQ. So system number 4 is our HQ, headquarters, your corporate building or so, if you would say, right? And this is just a place to manage your team, your tools, and the resources that you have in your company. And so this is a way to just keep track of all those moving parts. We know that there's all kinds of crazy moving parts in our businesses, and especially when we're working in an online business, right? Our online management versus an actual physical location. I mean, when we're in a physical location, you're like, oh yeah, 3rd floor, storage closet, top shelf, you know where to find something. But how is it going to be quick and easy for your team to know where certain assets are? So some of these tools, like we have a list where we keep track of literally all the software that we use. And then we can talk about like how to log in, what we use it for, even keeping track of who has access. So this is where we're talking about all of these things relating, much like the client profiles relate to the client tasks. We can relate, all right, which of our team members have access to this software? Which of our team members or which role is responsible for this SOP or for this process? And so that's when these relationships can get extremely powerful in ClickUp. It's great to have a place to manage who's on your team, what roles do they fill, and then of course, if you guys are starting to build and scale, like I know a lot of folks, and they're just hiring like crazy right now, then you can have that hiring pipeline essentially right inside your ClickUp as well, which is really cool. Thank you, Pedro. Appreciate you. So some statuses. In this case, we might just have some statuses where it's like, all right, what is, active versus inactive? Do we have a team member who's active versus inactive? Software, again, if I'm keeping track of the software, what status is the software? Are we just on a trial right now? Is it active? Did somebody just recommend it, but we're not going to choose to use it? Or maybe, sometimes people tell us of awesome, fun tools and it's like, yeah, but I bought an annual subscription for this one. So I'm going to let that run out first. And then I'm going to probably jump ship over to this one. So it's just a good way to keep track of like those things. Now, admins or pretty much anybody who's on a need to know basis, right? For when you set up those permissions, and always with the views, what specific data, which specific columns and which specific filters do you want to focus on? And so this is just kind of a few examples here of how we've created our software list, for example. So you can see, all right, we are keeping track of a lot of softwares. We say what we use them for. We have the link to get to that software, which makes it quick and easy. You can see actually we've got some labels on here where it's like, all right, Zoom is the one that we pay for annually right now. And of course, Zoom is a per user, a per seat or a per license type of software. Some of these other ones as well. And then, all right, what kind of status is it in? And then again, like I said, who has access? Because we have a list where all of our team members are on here. This is a great way to say, cool, who has access to this? So only 3 members on our team have access to Zoom versus 5 have access to Google Workspace, to an email, right? Versus only me and Chase on a lot of these other ones, right? SOP library. So you can see how we've been able to use ClickUp in a way to build up our SOP library. So the task, AKA, ClickUp calls everything a task again, is like the SOP name. So, and then the assigned team member, which I don't know why I don't have, I guess I'm the assigned team member on everything right now. And then we can have this custom field, like, how would you rate this SOP? Do you think this SOP is freaking beast and there's no way anybody could screw this up? Or does it need some work? Does it need some refinement? So again, with ClickUp, you're just able to build up everything that you want to help you facilitate and keep track of everything. Because if we try and keep track of everything in here, that's hard. This is a way just to get stuff out of your brain and into a software. And so this is where you can see like our team members. And so cool. This is much like we have client profiles. Think of this as your team member profiles. And again, just depending on what you can keep track of, what day did this person start with us? What's their work email address? Which roles do they fill? So again, if you have your team members here and your team roles here, like me right now, guys, I'm wearing 15 hats. I gotta start giving some of these hats away. But that's what's cool is when you can actually list it out and you know all the things that you are doing right now, then it becomes much quicker and easier for you to know where you need to start outsourcing when needed. So I hope that was helpful. Business HQ, like totally whatever you guys want to build into it for yourself, super powerful, but that's what we like to do. Now, the fifth system is our marketing space. So of course, a place to manage your own content and marketing campaigns. So the Content Marketing Institute defines content marketing as a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributed valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. So you guys will see in the workbook, and my other description on this is, of course, we can cold call, we can DM, we can cold email or something. We love referrals. Referrals are awesome, right? But like when you can actually just put the content out there and you have a clearly defined avatar, a clearly defined message, and you put out content that speaks to those people, they just come in. It's just inbound. And so you'll see that obviously you guys see all the reels and things that everybody's putting out lately with the videos with the captions and stuff on it. Like, it's a big deal. So this is a great way for you to just keep track of all of your content, keep track of your campaigns or projects, and also be able to track any KPIs for those pieces of content or campaigns, right? So I like to have a list for our content production. So we have a list where we talk about where we manage all of the graphics, the videos, images, or copy that we need to create for the various things. Of course, these singular pieces of content often go into bigger projects. So that's where the collective media is. So like if we have a website or a landing page, that's going to have multiple images, multiple pieces of copy, all of that. And again, that's where the relationships come into place, is where we can have a relationship from our content board to our marketing projects. When we're looking at our marketing project, we can see all of those pieces of content that went into that marketing project, which is pretty cool. And then of course, once you go live with a campaign, how are we keeping track of its performance? And so like your clicks, your view count, subscribers, opt-ins. Now, and whether you're doing this manually, let's say, even if in the beginning, most folks will have a VA or, somebody on their team who's doing that manually. Over time, what's really amazing is ClickUp has awesome KPI or API, look now, all this marketing jargon and acronyms, right? But there's the API access to where you can actually start to have it automate that into there as well, which is really cool. And so some statuses, like this is what we do for our production. It goes through the whole idea phase. And then we start to plan, if we're going to create a video, we might write out a script, a few bullet points. Production, okay, we're going to go film. Post-production, we might have to edit and do a few things, whatever that might be. So anybody who's involved in marketing or content production or distribution should be added into this space. And again, you decide what views, what automations are important to you. Again, when it comes to us, anytime it's up for review, cool. It's going to go to this person for review. And so this is an example of a content management system that we put into one of our clients. So you can see just kind of some of the stuff that's in pre-production versus production. What type of content is this, something facilitate to give value or insights, and what platform are we planning to put it on. So again, it's really all about what you build into it. So with that, one more. Oh, this is Chase's crazy content board, which he's got a masterclass that's coming out in a few weeks to talk all about his amazing content system that he's been putting together with some amazing pros, like the names like Kate Buck Jr., Sebastian Rusk, Perry Belcher, Joel Kaplan, like a whole bunch of people have been giving us some feedback onto this system, which is really cool. But you can see it's all about what you build into it. And so if you build things with modular elements, it can go from the chaos and the madness, right, into something that's a lot more put together, a lot more easy to just digest and to keep track of. And it's the standards. The standards are the key, right? So we're happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And at the same time, even if you wanted kind of a little quick walkthrough of our dashboard, I'm happy to do that. So let's open it up. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Let me know. I'll actually, while we're waiting for some of those questions to roll in, just so you guys know, let us know too if you had any issues in getting the bundle items. But High Level wanted to be rude, and I was like, okay, whatever. We're just gonna stuff these in a Google Drive folder and give them to you guys. So you guys will have the workbook in here, and you'll see like the guides. I did want to talk to you about the SOP templates too. Again, we're just watching to see if any questions come through. But these were the things that came in that. When it comes to the SOPs, so I really love this one, and I hope that you guys like this as well. And that's where you have, this will see the actual SOP, like what the template is, and the link when you go to install the template will just kind of ask you, all right, which ClickUp, and you guys probably just have one ClickUp, I have a million, but all right, then that's where you can install that. But this is something I really wanted to point out to you guys while we're waiting for that, is this is why SOPs are the ticket to scaling. Because if we're a business owner, this is the way for you to be able to write yourself out of your business, or at least to focus on the 4% of activities that actually truly manage or matter to you, right? And so the more stuff that you have written down, the more documentation that you can just hand off to a contractor or a team member and just be like, hey, I need you to do this, then it's a lot easier. Or when somebody in the team gets promoted or like leaves or whatever, it's like, it's great. Hey, I can give these instructions to that new person. And so you don't start from ground zero. So anyway, documenting your processes, this is truly the most important thing into scaling, because SOPs equal your gateway to a freedom lifestyle. With that, I'm not seeing any questions roll in, so all is good.
Let's maybe disable the chat.
Ah, 1 second, guys.
Rename the chat.
Where do I do that?
Or if anybody wants to raise their hand, they can ask live.
Yeah, if anybody wants to raise their hand, ask live, let us know. Ooh. Hey there, how's it going? If you want to come off mute.
Oh,
Is this Alex?
yeah.
What's going on,
Hey.
Alex? How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Amazing. What can I answer for you?
I saw in the chat, and I myself wanted to know if we could get a walkthrough of what you guys have, because we were doing what you mentioned about having a list per client. And right now we're managing about 90 clients, so that's already getting to be too much. So I like the way that you guys are doing them as tasks. So would you be able to give us like a quick walkthrough of how that works?
Of course, yeah. So let's just see here. Let's come into this. So again, like I mentioned, we do a list per client, but because we work with a small client pool, like that makes sense. That's pretty easy to do. But I'll kind of show you actually one of our other client accounts here, where he's working with a lot of folks, if we actually look at his client list, for example. So he's got a single client list and
Okay.
he's got a single service delivery list. Like he had multiples and he's like, nah, you know what? We have one singular product or service. We do Facebook ads to a ManyChat and it's pretty quick and easy and simple. But in this case, because he's got, like as you can see, 145, not all of them are active. So these are the different views that we've kind of created. So here's where we can create the status is onboarding. So these are only showing our clients in onboarding versus these guys are our clients in offboarding, pretty much. You can see kind of some important dates and things of that sort. So this is kind of what's cool on those views. But now we want to know, all right, how do we see what's going on with the actual clients? And what's funny is he's actually in the process. He's going live with this tomorrow. He's in Monday and moving over to this. So that's what's funny is, yeah. But here's where you can see the client that it's related to. So Trailblaze, I've got a couple of mock tasks in here. And so if I click on this guy, what's cool is you can quickly and easily go back and forth from the client profile to the tasks. And so now we're inside this client's profile where we can see all kinds of information, like the last date that we checked in with them, their ad account number, what day do we check their ads, all of that good stuff, right? And as we scroll down, cool, this is where we can see the actual tasks that we have that are ongoing for this client right now. So right now we've only got 2 tasks in the queue for this client. And it's really quick and easy just to go into this task. Okay, cool. Now we can, talk and communicate about, update on this task just right here. We can comment in there. Of course, if it's in progress, this is a form of communication as well, updating those statuses, because if we just leave it as to do, we don't really know. So that's a great way to facilitate communication also. And then it's like, all right, let's go back to this client's profile, do whatever we got to do. Maybe you wanted to leave some notes about this client or something like that. And then we could go back into this other task. So that's what's cool is in this case, you're able just to go back and forth and a lot of things. Does that help out for you, Alex?
It does. It does. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Awesome. Anybody else have any questions? Or by all means, I love, that was a really good one because yeah, when you can see it in action, it definitely helps.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I like that a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. We got Louis. How's it going? Or Luigi, what do you prefer to go by? Welcome. So happy to have you here.
Hey, Kimberly, nice to meet you. You can call me either or Luis, Luigi. Most people call me Luigi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
So you mentioned you have a large team and you use this to communicate over Slack and any other thing. So, how do you handle that? We use Slack and we have ClickUp and we just started implementing Go High Level. And I was wondering how you guys did that.
Yeah, of course. So I'll kind of show you over here actually. I'll bring up our Slack. Like our Slack, of course, we've got like our DMs and stuff that we do here. We just have like a couple of small group channels, but most of this is alerts. As you can see, these are just alerts. These are just alerts. And so 90% of our communication takes place in ClickUp outside of just these couple group channels and then some DMs. And so that being like, if I'll come to my notifications here. So, well, what's kind of cool too is we have actually built a master dashboard, which compiles pretty much all of our stuff into the main hub. And so you can see like these latest comments. And so we communicate on a task by task basis. So if I were to come into this one right here, of course, you can see all of this history, which isn't too crazy, but this is how we talk and we can keep those conversations centralized on the tasks so that, because in our old agency, this is what I learned when we were in our other old agency is when we were doing stuff a lot of the time in Slack, then I would have to go up mountains and mountains of stuff. And God forbid if it was more than 90 days ago, right? I think they have that cutoff of 90 days. And so we lost some things. So in this case, you can ensure that everybody's all on the same page. I love to always show the latest comment. And so you can kind of see in this thing that we're doing here, like all of the conversations that we're on. Mashfik has been able to tell me kind of what he's done. I'm able to kind of communicate with him. And again, by also using these status updates, that's also a way to communicate, because of course, once it's done or complete, hey, we know it's done or complete. Or if the team, for example, in our crazy content area, kind of show you guys, marketing,
Would you
like,
be able to, to shoot a little video as to how you created that master dashboard? Because it looks really cool.
oh yeah, actually, I just created a video. We need to publish it. ClickUp Master Dashboard Tour. Mario was just putting a little, he has one other update to make, but yeah, this is a behind the scenes of showing what everything that went into creating this master dashboard. So I'll make sure that we send that your way.
Okay. And do you give access to the customers as guests, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, so what we've done, actually, what's kind of funny, you'll see in here in our ClickUp, like there's only 3 of us, Chase, myself, and Pedro, that are full members. And pretty much you can see we've got a lot of other guests that are in here. Some of our team, so like Ugo is on our team. He's got access to 10 folders, 11 lists, and 20 tasks currently, versus some of our other clients, you know, I give them access. Actually, look, he doesn't even have it because we just finished his stuff. But like Bella right here, she has access to their list where we're managing their projects. You can manage those permissions on a list to list basis, or even a task to task basis. So for example, we've got a client that we're doing some other content stuff for. Her name's Kate. And if I wanted to give this to her, actually, I almost did it earlier today. If I wanted to share this particular task with her, then I can just add her to this particular task, which is really cool. So now she'll get a notification in her ClickUp that says, hey, Kimberly shared this task with you. And so if she comes in, she won't see all this other stuff. She will only see this particular task, which is really cool.
So it's on a task by task basis. And do you use Mac and Windows together, or you have only one OS?
Oh yeah, so I'm primarily a Windows user. It works really good, but I have a lot of other like clients and our friends, actually our family all across the way here. They use Mac and iPhone, and so it works really great on either or. Kate, actually, I think she's all on Mac, right? She's all on Apple devices.
Because sometimes, like, I have both, but when I try to access certain links and things from Mac, they don't show up on my Mac, but they do show up on my PC, and I don't know why that is. I haven't opened up a ticket with ClickUp or anything. I know they have pretty good support, but I was wondering if
Yeah, that's interesting. Is it the app or the site?
this I do the website on both. I only have the app on the iPhone. I haven't tried the iPhone to see if it shows up actually.
Gotcha. Chase, he uses the actual desktop app too. I use the actual online version. I have the app on my computer. So maybe you want to try that too, because you can download the actual app if you want it also.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, I use the web desktop app, like the same link that you have, but obviously for my ClickUp.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. You'll have to let me know how that goes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions? Was that helpful for you, Luigi?
Yeah, pretty good. And it's you have like a lot of things in there, so it'd be
Okay.
amazing to see how you invested a whole lot of time into getting things done. And do you do like integrations with Zoom and Slack and everything? You connect everything
Ooh.
via Zapier, or just the Click apps that they have?
Oh yeah, I do. If I come into my integrations here,
Mhm.
you can see all of these that I have set up to go to specific Slack channels. Like I love this again. So we'll use Slack as kind of our notification platform.
Mhm.
And so this is a way for us to kind of just see, you know, some of those updates on our client profiles. As you can see, as we've done some activities and stuff and work this morning on our content versus just other like tasks. So I'm able to integrate and have ClickUp just pass this information to Slack. And then primarily we have our team, of course, where they're keeping track between the notifications area. So that's kind of where that'll come in. Between the master dashboard and notifications is where they're able to keep track of everything. Also, Pedro, he is on our team and he is a automations beast. And so he'll use Make, formerly known as Integromat. I don't like calling it Make, but that's what it is now. Or Zapier, some of our other clients where, you know, they use Zapier. And so you're totally able to have like those other automations and stuff like that set up as well. Actually, let's see if I can just pop in and kind of show you. Like we do a lot of one-click onboarding. And so whatever you can do to kind of automate your client onboarding.
Yeah, I saw that he posted something in the group when I joined on Sunday that that he had a thing that he hit a button and it had like 100 emails for Go High Level. So I don't know if you have a way to show us how you integrate ClickUp with Go High Level, which is something that I'm doing now. It'd be very beneficial for us.
Yeah, I'm sure, Pedro, we're more than happy to put some of that content into the group because that's definitely super beneficial. Like some folks, of course, the first 100 days, like the first 3 to 4 months, right? 90 to 120 days is a critical, oh, he's like, you can show WebSpark, thank you. It's a critical period within your clients because of course at that point you have the opportunity to either make or break the experience with them, and if you can ensure that they have an amazing first few months, then of course they're going to stay hopefully long term, right? And so he wants me to show you their 100-day plan, but before I jump into that, just as an example, you can see that and maybe I have to zoom in because if it's like really crazy, there we go. So he basically has this automation set up to where they'll fill out the onboarding form, and you can do that in ClickUp, in Jotform, in Typeform, Google Forms, whatever, wherever you host your form. And then all these things that it's going to do, it can automatically create the client's Google Drive folder. It's automatically going to create a Google Doc from a template. It's going to create their client profile. It's going to add the onboarding tasks. It's going to send a Slack message. It's going to create a Slack channel and do all kinds of stuff. So he's done this, and then it's going to send them an onboarding email. That's just one instance. And he says, I can show WebSpark. I think I have to sign out of this one though. I didn't realize. Okay. And this one, we've got a few accounts, WebSpark. You said the 100-day plan, Pedro. Now, I don't live in here, so I'm like, this is where he lives. Scenarios, client onboarding, he tells me. Client onboarding live. Thank you. So inside here, oh my gosh, yeah, you can see that he's got a lot of stuff that that goes on in here. So he'd be happy to show some content for you guys more in the group that kind of goes through this stuff a little bit more. But yeah, it like has these like data stores, and you know, it can create stuff within high level. High level can talk to ClickUp, can talk to Zapier or Make. I mean, this is Make versus Zapier. Can talk to Slack. If you guys need it to talk to Slack, can send an email. So there's a lot of possibilities. ClickUp form applies the snapshot and create all high level resources and sends a doc and onboarding email. Excellent. So I know that's a lot. Does that help you, Luigi?
What do you mean by that? You lost me there. Like with one click, it does all that?
Yeah, they fill out the onboarding form, and this does this, all of this. Pedro, I mean, you're welcome to come off mic as well.
I just sent my friend request on Facebook.
Hey guys, how are you? So yeah, Luigi. So pretty much, the idea is to have you need three things. I think first a form, second the steps you want to accomplish, and third a Make or Zapier account. I usually recommend Make over Zapier because it's easier to handle the logic and error processing. Zapier, even if it has like a lot of automations, even or like modules and integrations. I prefer to use Make. Like it's like a better tool. So yeah, the thing is that, for example, one of our clients uses ClickUp forms. So we create like this onboarding form with all of the necessary data. In this case, they have like the business name, the client email, the client phone number, who it's going to be the assigned media buyer, who it's going to be the assigned client success manager, who is going to be assigned like the inbound sales agent, like all of this stuff. Like you can configure that by your needs. And then after that, you fill that information, click submit, and it's going to automatically create, like, you can do like create a sheet or create like a Google Doc or a Google Drive folder, all the high level accounts or the high level contacts, apply snapshots based on which niche are they in, create a Slack channel, send some message. This, like, the possibilities are endless. So it's going to depend on your creativity pretty much, and that the services are available through an API.
Thanks, Pedro.
Oh, that's amazing. And what was that other program that you were showing on the screen? When that's what you guys use to graph out the funnels?
This is just what we use to diagram all of our processes. And so again, when we talk about ClickUp and what it is, just sometimes, and that's what I love in this thing here, and just talking about the process, right? Let's go up here. And so that was just using it, but you don't even have to use anything like that. It could be as literally as just saying step 1, step 2, step 3. But if you wanted to, you know, do something, I totally recommend this software, Whimsical, to just be able to quickly and easily diagram, you know, certain things out.
Whimsical. I never heard of it.
Yeah, any other questions that anybody has, or Whimsical? Because another thing is too, and we didn't have the slide up here, but we do have a $9.97 strategy session offer, of course. Chase did want to extend that just a little bit longer, because I know everybody here, what was super awesome and super amazing. I was so glad to have everybody on here. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who came, who wanted to take place in the masterclass. I hope that you guys got so much value of this. Thank you, Kelsey. Appreciate you. It was really awesome. Chase just dropped it in the chat, but again, because we know as we run our online businesses, online business management, it's crazy, right? It's so funny. When 2020 and the pandemic hit, we were all pretty much, or a lot of organizations were forced to figure out how to run their business online. And by being able to use just some of these tools that we've shown you here today, especially the ClickUp space, it's your single source of truth. It's just a way to keep everybody on the same page to facilitate that effective team communication and management. And if you guys would like a little bit of help and just to get that unique roadmap, he did want to extend that additional time frame. How long did you have that open? 72 hours. So he says he's got 72 hours if you guys wanted to take advantage of the $9.97 strategy session. We normally charge about $2,500 for that. So just wanted to throw that in there as well. But with that, nobody else.
What does that offer for $9.97 include? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're good. I'll actually pull up the page super fast. So he's got the landing page here. But essentially it's going to be able to create that roadmap, to be able to create that step-by-step plan for you so that you can immediately implement these 5 systems into your agency. So we do a really big deep dive. Essentially, it's 2 major sessions with us. We do the first session where we come in and we just have about an hour where we go through and we talk about your team, your product, your service, everything that you offer. We talk about what existing SOPs and workflows you have in place, what existing client management or team management systems that you have in place. And so it's just that full wide spectrum. After we do that brief, We'll go into the background. It usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks for us to do the entire audit. And then we can schedule that strategy session where we come back together. We'll have an entire strategy presentation deck, a whole bunch of slides for you, and that entire step-by-step roadmap that you can follow to completion. Anything else I missed?
In Whimsical, like we'll actually document, diagram things out in Whimsical, and then you'll have that plan step by step to follow.
Yeah, what he said. We'll have that step by step. So much like you saw our whimsical board is, we'll have that entire game plan written out for you to where you'll be able to do it just kind of similar. I'll show you what we've done with some of our other clients, like this one right here, which is some of those ones that I showed you. We've created, like, this is how we created his client success space. And we decided everything that was supposed to go into that. We decided everything that was supposed to go into his service delivery based on his unique thing. We decided everything that was supposed to go into his capacity defense, into his content marketing, and then also into his business HQ. So if you want a full-on roadmap that's going to help you to design what exactly you need to do, what statuses everything should be, what should go into every little nook and cranny, that's what we want to help with on the strategy session. So I hope that was helpful. Excellent. Well, amazing. We just hit that mark. Again, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. He'll drop that, of course, in the, I think he's going to have another email, a link that goes out with that. So even if that's not something that you guys wanted to do right now, the offer for that will be open for 72 hours. So, well, amazing. I hope everybody has a terrific Tuesday. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. And if there's any other help or anything else that we can do, of course, we've got our Facebook group, Automatic Lifestyle. If you guys are in the group, let us know if there's any other content that you want us to make. We've got another masterclass coming up in just a couple of weeks about our expanded content system. This was just talking about a really basic one. But with that, thank you guys. I hope you have an amazing, terrific Tuesday and have a good day. Take care. Thank you.